Alright, hey class, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at Chapter 7, and more specifically in this video we're going to start looking at 7.1, which deals with the U.S. measurement units. And you'll notice here in the chart that we have our U.S. measurement unit relationships that deal with U.S. length units, capacity units, weight units, and even time units. And so we're just going to kind of first just look at how these units convert amongst themselves, and then we'll look a little later on at how the metric system converts among itself, and then we'll finish up chapter 7 looking at how the U.S. measurement and the metric system converts among the two systems themselves. And so, but with the measurement system, we use it a lot today, and just some of the examples of where we might use the metric system in our everyday lives is just when we talk about inches, feet, quarts, ounces, pounds, just any type of measurement that deals with the U.S. system. The metric system, on the other hand, is used mostly in medicines and sciences, and we see it a lot in sports these days. But that's where we'll see the metric system. But again, we'll say that for another video. This first video, like I said, we're just going to practice converting between the U.S. system. So let's look at an example here. It says we want to convert 60 inches to feet, and to do that we want to use a unit fraction. Okay? Well, unit fractions are what these relationships are. Each one of these relationships is a unit fraction. So if I did 12 inches over 1 foot, that would be a unit fraction. 3 feet over 1 yard, that would be a unit fraction. So we're going to use these relationships in our problem solving. Well, first, what we want to do is we just want to start with what's given to us. So we're given 60 inches, so I want to start with that. Okay, and since we're dealing with fractions, if you want to make it a fraction, it'd probably be more helpful. Alright, so you start what's given to you. Now you're going to multiply that by the unit fraction that deals with inches to feet. So if we go back and look at our chart, we notice that the one that deals with inches to feet is 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. So we're going to use that. Okay, now another thing to keep in mind is we want to finish in feet. So the only way I can get inches to cancel out is if I have inches on the bottom on the right side. And now that was 12 inches was equal to 1 foot. And so there's our unit fraction. Okay, the 1 foot to 12 inches, that creates our unit fraction. Now we just multiply these two together. My inches cancel. Inches cancel. Now I know that I can cross simplify the 12 and 60, where 12 becomes 1, 60 becomes 5, and now we just multiply. So on the top we get 5 times 1, which is 5. On the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. And then 5 over 1, well, that just simplifies to 5. And keep in mind now we are in feet, and so we get 5 feet. And so 60 inches is equivalent or equal to 5 feet. And that's what we're going to look at mostly in this section, is converting between those different U.S. measurements. Alright, so now let's look at the next one. Here we want to convert 14 feet to inches. So again, we're going to start with what's given to me, 14 feet. Again, I recommend placing it over 1 just to give yourself that fraction. Now we're going to multiply it times the relationship between feet and inches, and we saw in the previous problem that that's 12 inches is 1 foot. And now that we have feet on the top on the left, we need feet on the bottom on the right, so I'm going to flip that. So 12 inches is to 1 foot. And now I'm ready to multiply. So my feet cancel, and then 14 times 12, well, that just gives me 168 over 1, which again, 168 over 1 is just 168. And we are in inches, and so do not forget to include your units. So 168 inches is equal to 14 feet. Okay, so here we have another problem. We're asked to convert 7.5 gallons to quarts, and so I put the chart here for us to look at, and we just need to find the relationship between gallons and quarts. And so if we look down at the bottom here, we see down here at the bottom we see that 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon. Okay, so again we're going to start what's given to me. So 7.5 gallons. If you want to make it a fraction, you can. So over 1. And times the relationship between gallons and quarts, and that's 4 quarts. Remember, quarts have to go up top, so that's 4 quarts to 1 gallon. Okay, and so now what happens is we have the gallons cancel out. Okay, if you want to make this an improper fraction, you can. That's just 15 over 2 over 1 times 4 over 1 still. And we know where gallons and gallons, they cancel, so we're just left with quarts on the right side. And so now if we multiply this together, really all we have is we just have 15 over 2 times 4 over 1. And then when we multiply that, we can cross simplify. 2 becomes 1, 4 just becomes 2. And so what we're left with then is just 15 times 2, which gives me 30. And now remember, my units was quarts, so we're left with 30 quarts, which is equal to 7.5 gallons. Alright, so here we have convert 36 ounces to pounds. So again, same thing. Start with what's given to you, 36 ounces over 1. Now I got to multiply that times my relationship between ounces and pounds. And if we look down here, we see that the relationship between ounces and pounds is 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound. So again, ounces need to go on the bottom, on the right one. So we have 1 pound. And again, you want to familiarize yourself with the abbreviations as well. You'll be seeing the abbreviations a lot. And so we get 1 pound is 16 ounces. Alright, so now my ounces cancel. And so we're left with 36 times 1 on top, which is 36. 1 times 16 on the bottom, which is 16. We're in terms of pounds, so that's my units. Okay. But now if you notice, we can reduce that. Okay, they each are divisible by 4. So divide each one by 4. And what we're left with is 9 over 4 pounds. If you want to, which I suggest, turning that into a mixed number, it just makes it easy for us to understand exactly what we're talking about. We get 2 1/4 pounds, which is equivalent to the 36 ounces. Okay guys, so here we have another one that asks us to convert 2 days to seconds. But if you notice down on your chart, we don't have a relationship that takes me directly from days to seconds. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have to use more than one unit fraction in order to go from days to seconds. So let's just start and let's see what we have to do. So again, the steps remain the same though. You just start with what's given to you, which is 2 days, and now we got to figure out how we can get to our finishing unit, which is seconds. So again, notice down here on our chart, we don't have anything that takes me directly from days to seconds. So it looks like what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go from days to hours, okay, and then from hours to minutes, and then from minutes to seconds, okay, and so it looks like we're going to have to use a couple unit fractions here. So 2 days go to hours first. Well, that tells me that one day is 24 hours. So again, remember days have to go on the bottom. So 24 hours is 1 day. Okay, so now my unit of days cancel, so we're in terms of hours now. Alright, but again, we got to get to seconds, and I don't have one that takes me from hours to seconds, so we got to use another unit fraction that takes me from hours to minutes. So I know that 60 minutes is 1 hour. So now my hours cancel. Okay, now we're in terms of minutes, but again, we want to finish in terms of seconds, so we need one more unit fraction that tells me that, hey, 60 seconds is 1 minute. And now I can cancel off my minutes, and now we are in terms of seconds for our final unit. So if you notice now, we're ready to multiply everything together. Everything on the bottom is just a 1, so all we really have to do is just multiply my top numbers together. So 2 times 24 times 60 times 60, multiply all that together, and we get 172,800, and we're in terms of seconds. So 172,800 seconds is equal to 2 days. Okay. So again, sometimes we might get to a problem to where one unit fraction just won't get us to where we need to finish, and so you might have to use 1 extra. You might have to use 2 extra. You might have to use more. You just never know. You just have to start with what's given to you and work your way to where you need to finish. Alright guys, so here we have an application problem dealing with the U.S. measurement system. So it says a local grocery store has an 18-ounce jar of peanut butter on sale for $1.75. We want to find what is the cost per pound for this jar of peanut butter. And again, since we're talking about money, we always want to round to the nearest cent. Well, if you notice, we're looking for the cost per pound. We know how much it costs for an 18-ounce jar. Well, we want to know how much does it cost per pound of peanut butter. So the first thing we got to do is we got to get our amount of peanut butter, the 18 ounces, we got to get that in terms of pounds. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to convert that. So again, we got 18 ounces is what's given to me. I want to convert it to pounds, so I know that 1 pound is 16 ounces. And so now my ounces cancel, and so what we're left with is 18 over 16, which I can actually reduce that, divide each one of these by 2, and we wind up getting 9 and 8. And so what we get is we get 9 over 8 pounds. That's equivalent to 18 ounces. And so if you even divide that out, you get 1.125 pounds. Okay, so 18 ounces of peanut butter is equal to 1.125 pounds. And so now what we're looking for is the cost per pound. So if you remember, going back to our unit fractions, okay, when we did unit rates, if you go back to our chapter 5 where we did rates, we did unit rates, and so we found the cost per one, or how many per one of something. And so that's really what we're doing here. We want to take our cost and we want to per pound, so we want to divide it. Okay, so we're going to take our cost, which was $1.75. Now we want that per pound, so if you remember back to our unit rates, that means we're going to divide by the amount of pounds we have, 1.125. And so now we just divide these two. Don't forget your units. So now we just divide these two numbers. And so what we wind up getting is we get 1.55 repeat. And so remember, we're only rounding to the nearest cent, so we only got to go that extra mile, that extra digit. And so what we get is it's $1.56 per 1 pound. Okay, so again, first thing you got to do is you got to convert your unit, okay, your measurement into whatever the problem's asking for. So if we started in ounces, the problem wanted per pound, so we had to first convert it per pound, and then we're really just finding the unit rate, which we've done plenty of times before in chapter 5. So hopefully we remember that part, and then it becomes a pretty easy problem. If you want, there's steps on solving problems that you may want to kind of look at and go over to kind of give you a better idea if you're having trouble with solving these application word problems. But then again, it's just taking different topics that we've already learned and just kind of putting them together in one problem. So hopefully that helps out. If you have any questions over any of the topics or any of the examples in the video, just please get in touch with me, and we'll hopefully can fix your problem. Thank you.